belly, and one hand can come onto your heart if you like, and you can support your knees as well. Can you hear me all right, Jean? Yeah, good. And you can also use the block underneath your knees. And just use a few moments before we start to really move to just check in, see how you're doing this morning. I know it's a bit of a grey, miserable day there. See if you can just go inside a little bit more. So forget about the outside weather, the outside chaos, and just go inside a little bit. See how your body feels this morning. If you're working with any injuries, as always, you know, just be mindful. Work with yourself, not against yourself. And then start to notice the breath as it moves in and out of your body. Through the nose if you don't have any blockages in your nostrils. Obviously if you've got a cold, a little blocked nose, breathe in and out through the mouth. Just be smooth and steady. Inhaling fully. And lengthening the exhales. So the theme today, as you continue with this breath, is that the obstacle is the path. So we might take one or two asana poses that you might find a little bit challenging or a little bit difficult. And just as in life, often the things that we think are the most troublesome or hindrances often prove to be our greatest teachers. So if you come to, as we move today, just look for all the ways that maybe challenge tries to throw you off course. So maybe it might be a physical challenge, or it might be your monkey mind. And these obstacles are your teacher, just like in life. So just try and have that thought in your mind as we work through the practice today. So taking a few more breaths, breathing in and exhaling. Two more together. Inhale fully and exhale completely. And breathing in fully and exhaling. Lovely. Next breath in, if your eyes are closed, just open them up. Staying on your back, reach your hands down and bring your knees towards each other and plant your feet on the mat. And then you're going to lift your left leg up to like a tabletop position with your knees stacked over your hips. And then your right leg is going to come up into a tabletop as well, with your right knee stacked over your hip. And your shins parallel to the floor. So just warming up through the midsection. I'm going to use a lot of core work today in your practice. So I want you to start to sort of activate it a little bit. So next breath in, bring your hands just to your temples. Keep the elbows out wide. Hug the belly button into your spine. So really try and sort of pull that belly button down a bit more. And then just lift your shoulders up if that feels okay. If it doesn't, then just bring your head back onto the floor, that's fine. Okay, starting with your knees in line with your hips, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, just reach the right toes towards the floor and tap the floor. Inhale, bring that right knee up, and then change sides. Left leg comes down, tap the toes to the floor. Inhale, bring the left knee up to tabletop, and exhale to the right. Keep pulling the navel into your spine. Inhale up, and exhale, left comes down. Inhale up, right comes down. Don't worry if you're doing the opposite side to me. Inhale up, just keep breathing and keep hugging that navel in towards the spine. Keep moving and breathing. For a few more here. Maybe try and hug that navel in a little bit more. If your neck is getting tired, just rest your head back. Otherwise, come up as high as you can onto the back of your shoulder blades. Good. Take two more each side. Lovely. And you can lengthen if it's too easy. Reach your toe out a little bit further. Last one each side. Nice and slow. Well done. Come back to center. Lie your head down and hug your knees in. Good job. Just rock your spine side to side. Beautiful. We're going to take that one more time, just straightening that leg instead of reaching it to the floor. So bring both knees so that the knees are in tabletop position. Bring the hands to the sides of your head. Inhale and just lift up to the back of your shoulder blades. Have your elbows out nice and wide. Hug your navel in towards your spine. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, straighten the right leg out towards the front and then reach the right elbow towards the left knee. Inhale, come back to center, knee comes back to tabletop. Exhale, change side. Left leg goes out, so it's bicycles. Left elbow towards right knee. Inhale, back to center, nice and slow. Real nice deliberate movements. Exhale, other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale to center. Lovely. Try and do it nice and slowly, keeping that knee in line with your hip, not bringing the knee towards your belly. 2 more times each side. Breathing in as you come up, breathing out as you go back. Good. Inhale, 1 more time each side. Exhale. Inhale back to center, last side. And exhale. Come back to center. Hug your knees in, let your head come down to the mat. And just rock the spine, massage side to side. Good. All right, holding on behind your thighs, just take a few rocks the whole length of the spine and make your way up to a tabletop, finding yourself hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Finding yourself in a tabletop position. Hello. Hopefully you're feeling you've warmed up a little bit with your core. So let's take 3 cats and cows together. So as you inhale, bring your tailbone up. Let the front of your body really lengthen. Maybe draw the shoulder blades towards each other a bit more. Find length in the front body. Exhale as you round and stretch and find openness in the back of your body. Take 2 more, breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling, coming up to that cow position. And exhale, round and round. That's lovely, everyone. 1 more. Inhaling, coming up to the cow. And exhaling, rounding and pressing the ground away, looking between the knees. Lovely, come back to the center. And then take your right foot back. Good. And then press down with your right foot a lot so that you're sort of feeling nice stretching in the calf muscle. Then bring the sole of the right foot down onto the mat and turn your left toes to the side of the mat. Come onto your left hand and reach that right arm up in a nice side plank. Good, so just challenging the side of your body here in a gate pose. And then lift that top leg up. Just challenge yourself a little bit more if you can. Holding it here, pressing the ground away with the left hand, reaching up with the right. How is your breath here? Breathing in and breathing out. 1 more breath, stay steady, stay strong. Inhale and exhale. Good, put the right foot down and then imagine someone's pulling you up by the right fingertips, come all the way up, bring your right hand towards that right leg, the left arm stretches over. Find a nice side body stretch in the left side. Yeah, that's it, Jean, yeah. Stretching over to the side, come all the way back to center, put the left hand down, right hand down, and find yourself in tabletop again. Take the left foot back, so we're doing exactly the same on the other side. Press into that, the foot so that you feel the calf really activate. And then bring the sole of that left foot onto the mat. Turn your right toes to the right side of the mat. Weight into the right hand, left arm reaches up. So you're finding yourself in a side plank. Good. Don't worry if you can't see me, just press down into the right hand and then if you can, lift your left leg up off the floor. Good. Maybe get a little bit lighter in the right fingertips so that you're lifting up rather than leaning into that hand. You're finding that left arm reaching up for something you really want. 1 more breath here, breathing in. Always remember your breath. Lovely, everyone. Looking strong, exhale. Bring that left foot down and then come all the way up to your gate. bring the left hand down and the right arm reaches up and over. Find that nice right side body stretch. Inhale here. Gorgeous. And then exhale. Come all the way back down. Turn and face the front of the mat. Find yourself in tabletop again. Lovely. Let's just take one more cat and cow. So as you inhale, tailbone comes up, look up. And as you exhale, round the back, look between the knees. Lovely. Come back to the center. Tucking your toes under. Let's come up to a downward facing dog. So lift your hips up. See how it feels. Your first down dog of the morning. Maybe you want to walk that dog a little bit more by pedaling one leg, straightening one leg, bending the other, so it's like you're walking your dog. Relax your neck. Just see how it feels in the back of your legs. When you're ready, press into your hands and come into stillness. So don't forget, you can bend your knees as much as you need to. Reach your hips up high. Find length all the way from the hands pressing down into the earth, reaching up to the tailbone. Grounding through the hands and the feet with equal pressure. Stay with that breath. Inhaling. And exhale. Lovely. Coming onto your knees. Step the right foot forwards and come all the way up into a low lunge Anjaneyasana. Good. Finding the first of our twists today. So bring that left with the right foot in front. You're going to bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee and reach the right arm behind you. If it's too much for your shoulder, you can always bring that hand behind your back. That's fine. Good. The right hand behind your back. Yeah. Otherwise, twist and look along towards the right fingertips. Or a really tall, good. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. Then bring that left elbow towards the outside or onto the right knee and bring the right hand on top of the left. Prayer twist. Good. I know this is quite an awkward twist to do, so just do your best. Press the palms together and get a little bit of a lift. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling, or if your balance is challenged, just look down, that's cool too. Breathing in. Stay with that smooth, steady breath. Breathing out. Lovely. One more breath, inhale. I know it's tough when you have to hold things. And breathe out. Lovely. Unwind and bring both hands down either side of the front foot. And then just a nice smooth transition to a half split. So straightening that right leg. Maybe the toes point up to the ceiling. Maybe use the blocks to bring the ground up to you. All blocks are doing is making your arms longer. So always use your blocks whenever you find that you're struggling to reach the floor a bit. One more breath here, inhaling. And exhale, bend into that right knee. If the blocks are there, just move them out of the way. Plant the hands and step back to a downward facing dog again. Well done, everyone. Breathe in and come forwards to a plank. Get firm in your core here. Try and hold it just for a moment. Don't forget your knees can come down at any time. Don't let your hips sink. And then bring your knees down, elbows hug in, and lower all the way down to the ground. Good. Coming into a locust, just in our warm-up, bring your hands behind you, interlace them. Squeeze the thighs towards each other, zip your legs up, and come up to a locust, lifting the chest and the shoulders up. Maybe lifting the feet and the shins, maybe even the knees. Stretching the legs back and reaching the head forwards. The back of the neck is long. Take another breath. Inhale, lift the arms a little bit further away from your back if you can. And exhale, lower down. Hands under shoulders. Press back to downward facing dog. Well done. Come down onto your knees again. And let's take the left side. So step the left foot forwards. Reaching the arms up into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. So back toe can be tucked or untucked in this pose. It's easier for balance if your toe is tucked. Good. Then bring your right hand to the outside of your left knee and reach your left arm back to face behind you in a nice twist. Don't worry if your balance is challenged, just use your breath and use your focus, your drishti. So looking at something usually towards the floor helps balance. Take Take another breath in, reach that left arm back. Find a nice length in the torso as you twist and maybe look behind you. Good, and then start to come forwards with your right elbow towards your left knee. Bring the left hand on top of your right like a prayer shape. Press the palms together and get that lift in a prayer twist. So your right knee's down, you're pressing both palms together and you're getting a lift over, maybe looking up to the ceiling over your left shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling. Lovely. Unwind, come back to center, hands onto the floor or onto blocks, and then start to straighten that left knee, coming into a half split. So in your half splits, you try to center everything, remember, so you're imagining your left out hips coming back, right out hips forwards. So everything's hugging into the center. Getting a nice drawing up through the pelvic floor muscles. Breathe in. And breathe out. Lovely. Come back to the center, bend your left knee. Move the blocks out the way if they're there. Hands plant down and downward facing dog. Lovely. From downward facing dog, just take a moment. Remember the intention of why you're practicing yoga. What brought you to the mat today? Maybe it's just to move and feel a bit more spacious. Maybe it's just to find a bit of groundedness. Maybe you feel you should. Whatever it is. Just remember that intention. And remember that the obstacle is the path sometimes. Breathe in, look forwards. And then as you exhale, walk your feet until they're behind your hands. Coming to a forward fold, maybe bending the knees, perhaps holding onto the elbows, maybe swaying a little bit left and right till you find that center place in the middle of both feet. The feet can be hip width apart if you like, or a little bit more. Feel the ground underneath your feet, your bare feet, so grounded through the big toe mound especially. Really feel that contact. And then let go of the hands. Inhale, come up halfway and just find a little bit of strength in the back body, a little bit like a locust. Lovely, Jean. And exhale, fold. And the next breath in, press down into the feet, reach the arms out to the side, all the way up above your head. Join the palms together as you come up to standing. Maybe a little gentle standing back bend, nothing too much, it's early. And then hands come to your heart. Samastiti. Alright, bring your hands to the sides. So we're just going to do a couple of rounds of no hands salutations. I think we've done this before. So make sure you've got your blocks at the front. You'll probably need them. I like to use them. If you don't need them, that's great too. Alright, so we're just going to do a couple of rounds of this before we come into a nice flow with some twists. So connect with the breath again. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more breath, inhale. And exhale. So the breath is always at the heart of yoga. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up and maybe stretch up a bit more. Exhale as the arms come out to the side and forward folds into Uttanasana. Breathe into that halfway lift. Strengthen the back of your body. Arms can reach back if you like. Exhale. Hands come down. Right foot steps back. Right knee down. So Anjaneyasana. We've already done this before. As you breathe in, reach the arms up to the sky. Lovely. And as you breathe out, both hands come down. Block or floor. Lift that back knee and straighten the front knee. Inhale here. So you're in a pyramid. Straighten both knees if you can. Bring the ground up to you. Remember, your block has 3 sides. So if you want it on the highest side, that's good as well. And then exhale, bend into that front knee and reach the arms all the way up so that you're in a high lunge now. Stretching into the hip flexors. Do this a few times, soon get the hang of it. Lovely. And then exhale, both hands to the top of the mat or the block. Step the back foot forwards, fold. Gorgeous. Breathe in, halfway lift, arms can reach back. And exhale to fold. Press the ground away, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up and stretch up, little standing back bend. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll do that starting on the left leg this time. Inhale, reach the arms up. It gets easier once you get to learn it. Exhale, fold forwards. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. So I'm using my blocks the whole time here. It really helps. Exhale, hands down. Step the left foot back. Left knee down. Lovely. Inhaling, the arms reach up. Lengthen here. Anjaneyasana. Back toe can be tucked or untucked. Breathe out. Both hands blocks or floor. Straighten both knees. Find your pyramid pose. Good. Inhale here. And then exhale, bend into that right knee. Reach the arms all the way up. Find that high lunge. Crescent lunge. Breathe in. And exhale, both hands to the front of the mat or block. Step the back foot forward, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Straighten the back of your body. Breathe out to fold. Press the ground away. The arms reach all the way up to the sky. Look up and stretch up. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more time each side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look up and stretch up. Breathe out, fold down all the way with the exhale. Inhaling, halfway lift, straighten the back of your body. And exhaling, hands to the blocks or floor, right foot back, right knee down. Inhaling, low lunge, Anjaneyasana, the arms reach up, lengthen all the way through that right hip flexor. Exhaling, hands to the block, straighten both knees. Maybe the front toes point up, or they're sort of stepping on the mat still. Exhale, bend into that front knee, reach the arms up, and then start to breathe in. Exhale, stay. Inhale again, well done. Exhale, both hands to the top of the mat or the block. Step the back foot forwards, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the back of the body. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up and stretch up. Exhale, hands to heart. Good, last side. Breathing in, the arms reach up, look up and stretch up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Straighten the back of the body, that's it, Rhonda. Exhale, hands to blocks or floor, left foot back, left knee down. Breathing in, the arms sweep up, Anjaneyasana, lovely, Deborah. Exhale, both hands down, straighten both knees, come into that pyramid pose. Inhale, stay. And breathe out, bend into that right knee, come all the way up, high lunge. Inhale here. Lovely. Exhale, well done, Rhonda. Both hands to the top, step the back foot forwards, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the back of the body. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, look up and stretch up. And hands to your heart. But take a moment in your mountain pose. Move the blocks to the side, and we're going to come on to a short flow with a lot of twists and maybe a bit of balance as well at the end. So do your best. Enjoy it. Remember, the obstacle is the path sometimes. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. Lovely. You can zip your legs up like you've got one leg and have your feet touching, or you can have your feet slightly apart. And you're going to sit your hips back and find yourself in a chair pose. So it doesn't matter whether your legs are together or whether they're slightly apart. You'll find out what's better for you. For me, because we're doing a twist, having my knees touching and gripping my inner thighs tightly towards each other is better. Reach the arms up and sit the bottom back into this chair pose. Lovely. Firming through the inner thighs. And then bring your hands to prayer. Bring them towards your heart. Good. And then make sure that your knees stay in line. And then bring that left elbow towards the right knee. So you're twisting over towards the right side, pressing the palms together. I know it feels awkward, just do your best. Inhale here, maybe looking up. And exhale to stay. Keep firm in the inner thighs. Good, one more breath, inhale. And then breathe out, just turn your gaze towards the floor. Keep your hands exactly as they are. Start to lift that left heel off the floor. So just pick the left heel up, then maybe bring that left heel towards the left bottom cheek. This is called flamingo, it's a little bit of a balance. Don't worry if you're frightened of it, it's a little bit wobbly. Breathe in, if you're here with me. Breathe out, don't worry if you need to tap your foot down to the floor, that's fine. And then keeping your elbows where they are, see if you can stretch that left leg back behind you, coming into a leaning lunge. I know, Jean, you're doing well. Step that left foot back and have that lunge prayer twist. So it's exactly what you did in the warm-up, but your left knee was down then. Well done. One more breath, inhale. Remember, the obstacle is the path. So when we find these moments, just notice, what is the obstacle? Well done. Breathing in and breathing out. Yeah, the left foot's down now, Kim. Bring the left foot down to the back of the mat. Yeah, so you're in a leaning lunge. Come back to center. Woo. Release the arms up. Find that high lunge again. How are you doing? Inhale here. I know when we move slowly, it's often a lot harder. Doing brilliantly. Once we're all in high lunge, hug the belly in, so you're using your core a lot now to come to warrior three. Remember, you can use your blocks or you can use your hand on that front thigh. I'm going to use my hand on the front thigh. Start to lean forwards. Maybe step the left foot in a little bit and then come into a warrior three. So in a warrior three, you're trying to look like a T shape. You might want to use your blocks underneath your shoulders here. That's also good. It's just making your arms longer. That's all it's doing. Giving you that bit of support. Good. So try and get really long, like you're in a locust pose with your upper back. Looking a little bit just ahead of the top of the mat rather than down towards the floor. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Next breath in. Come all the way up to standing. Do your best. Stay on that right foot if you can. Bend that left knee in. Bring your hands around the shin and hug the knee in towards you. Yes. Well done. I know it's challenging with the balance. Use your breath and your gaze, your drishti, to keep you steady. You can always hold on to a bit of furniture, that's fine too. Lovely. Now bring your right hand onto your hip, hold on to that left knee, and then bring that left knee out to the left side. So I'll turn and face you so you can see. Yeah, so your knee is bent. Don't worry if your balance is tricky. I know some days my balance is too. Bring your knee back to center and then switch hands. So hold on to your left knee with your right hand. Don't forget you can hold your furniture and reach your left arm behind. And maybe turn your gaze towards that left arm behind you. Breathing in and breathing out. Come back to center, facing the front, and let that left leg come down. Ooh. Sit down into a chair pose again. Well done. I know, straight on. If you need to shake it out, it's fine. We're coming on to eagle pose. So starting with the arms in chair pose, bring that right elbow down, left elbow wraps around it, wrap the forearms around each other, hands come towards each other. If it's too much for your shoulders, that's okay. Hold behind and hold on to the backs of your shoulder blades, that's fine too. And then you're going to bring that right leg out to the side to start with. Keep that left knee bent, so I'll face you. And then lift that right knee up as high as you can over the left, the thighs cross, and come into your variation of eagle. So you might be here with your toe tapping onto the floor or onto a block even. Or you might take a wrap. Doesn't really matter. Sit down a little bit more. Squeeze the forearms towards each other. Maybe lift the elbows up a bit more for 3. Stay with your breath. 2 and 1. Slowly unravel that bind of the legs. Straighten the legs. Release the arms, reach the arms up. Or inhale here, interlace the hands, release the index fingers. Oh, and then exhale, let's have a nice side bend stretch over to the right. That feels nice after that, doesn't it? Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale over to the left. Ooh, come back to the center, and then hands come down through to your heart. How are you doing? Ready for the other side? So starting at the top of the mat, I'm going to face the other direction, so I'm always looking at you. Just take a breath in your mountain pose, hands by your side. Remember, the obstacle is the path. Where is your mind? You know, it might be the obstacle of your mind, it might be the obstacle of my body can't possibly do it. Don't worry about it, it's just yoga. We're just moving and breathing with a bit of intention. Yes, so one breath, inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Then starting with that chair pose, sit your hips down, reach your arms up again, finding that chair pose. Utkatasana, fierce pose. Lovely. Take a moment just to draw the inner thighs towards each other a little bit more and sit the hips back. And then bring your hands to your heart in prayer. Good. And then this time you're going to twist in the opposite direction, so the right elbow comes towards the outside of the left knee. Press the palms against each other. Take a quick look at your knees. If your right knee's coming forwards, see if you can bring it back in line with your left a little bit more. It's probably going to be a bit more forwards of it. And then press the palms, maybe look up, challenge your balance by looking up to the ceiling. See how your breath is. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Then look down to the floor. Keep your elbow exactly where it is, your right elbow. And then pick up the right heel. And then maybe touch your right heel towards your bottom, your right butt cheek. Take a moment, look towards the floor, see how you do with your balance. Don't worry if you fall, as long as you don't hurt yourself. Give it a go. And then start to straighten that right leg behind you. Good, and then slowly bring the right toes down. Find yourself in this high lunge twist. I know twists, they're tough, aren't they? Stay with that breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Well done, beautiful everyone. Lovely, Lucy. Well done, Kim, come back. Come back to the center and reach the arms up. Find that high lunge. Woo! Yes. Take a moment just to steady yourself in this high lunge. Hug the belly in. So just imagine that you're hugging your low ribs towards each other. Get that core engagement. And then we're going to transition. We're going to move towards your warrior three again. So that standing balance. So maybe hands come onto your thighs. You might not even use your hands supporting anywhere, and you just bring them to your heart if you like. Start to lean forwards, maybe stepping that right foot in a little bit, then lifting the right leg up. Coming to like a T shape. If you want to use your blocks as support, that's good. Keep reaching the right leg back and the crown of the head forwards. And then try and hug the inner thighs towards each other so you've got some engagement there, hugging everything to the inseam. Good. How's your breath? Breathe in. Breathe out. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Using your core a lot, using your breath and your focus. Next breath in, come all the way up to standing. I know it's a long time on this leg, this left leg. Hug that right knee in, holding behind, but just below the knee. Hug it in. Oh, breathe in. Lovely everyone, lovely balance. Just look at something that's not moving. It really helps balance every time. And then bring your left hand onto your left hip. I'll turn and face you. Right hand stays on the knee. And then bring that right leg to the side. So you're opening that hip out in a nice hip stretch. Well done. I know it's challenging with the balance. Brilliant job. Lovely everyone. And then bring that knee back to center. Switch the hands so you're holding on to that right knee with your left hand, and then reach your right arm behind you. So you're finding a nice twist. Maybe turn your gaze towards the right fingertips. That'll make you wobble. Don't worry about it. Just breathe. Stay steady. Inhale, stay strong in that standing leg. Lovely, Lucy. And exhale. Come back to center and release that right leg down. Oh, straight away, sitting down into that chair pose. We're coming into eagle pose again. Reach the arms up. Good, starting with the arms again. This time you're going to bring your right elbow down first, left on top. So switching the sides. Make sure the elbows are reaching up a little bit so they're not coming down too far. You're lifting them up, you're getting that energy in the back of the shoulders. Don't forget you can wrap your arms around if that's too much on your shoulders. Lovely. And then reaching your left leg out to the side this time. Keep bending into that right knee. Lift up that left knee as high as you can. Wrap around as high as you can in the thighs. So your inner thighs are really gripping each other. Maybe that left toe touches the floor or even a block. If you've got one near you, that's helpful to balance on sometimes. Maybe you're taking that around the back of the right calf. So the left foot can wrap all the way around. And then sit down a little bit more. Squeeze the forearms towards each other. Stay with your breath. Stay with this challenge. Breathing in. And breathing out. The obstacle is the path. Next breath in. Start to straighten the knees. Undo the bind of the legs. Release the arms. Reach them all the way up to the sky. And again, let's interlace them. Release the index fingers. Or take a side body stretch towards your left side this time. So it might be the opposite way to where I'm going. Doesn't matter, we'll do both sides. Breathe in, come back to center. And exhale over to the right. Gorgeous. Inhale back to center. Hands down through to heart. Ooh. Take a moment, bring your hands by your sides. Inhaling. And exhale. Another breath, inhaling. And exhale. We're going to make our way onto the mat, coming into a chair pose. So sit your hips back. You'll be glad to stop these chair poses today. Reach the arms up. You're all doing well on a Sunday morning. Respect to you. Squeeze the inner thighs. And then slowly lower down for a count of 5, 4. Your heels can come up if you need to. 3, 2. If you need to bring your hands down, support yourself. Come all the way to a seat on 1. Find yourself in a boat pose. Yay! Hello, Cara, the dog. And then in a boat pose, so I'm holding on behind my thighs, pulling my chest up towards my knees so that I'm not rounding my back like this. I'm drawing back with my shoulder blades, squeezing the backs of my shoulders towards each other. Okay. You can stay here if you like. You can bring your hands forwards. It's your choice. Be where you are for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So you're breathing. 5, 4, 3. Well done. 2. And then 1, you're going to straighten your legs and lower down almost to the floor. So you're on the backs of your shoulder blades. This is a low boat. Good. If it's too much for your low back, bend your knees. That's fine too, okay? I don't want you to hurt your low back. Or alternatively, you can bring your hands underneath your hips. We're going to stay here for another 5, 4, 3. Keep looking at your toes, stretching your toes long. 2, and 1. Lower everything down onto the mat. Oh, just take a moment. Just take a pause. Notice what your breath is doing. Inhaling and exhaling. So in pauses, the physical challenge of poses is gone. But it's here in this stillness that the mind might recycle old stories or ideas, creating obstacles from within. So just notice what your mind is telling you here. All right. Enough of a rest now, everybody. We're nearly at the end, I promise. Bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet to the floor. If your block is nearby, hopefully it is, you can just grab it. Otherwise, just get hold of your block. Hopefully you've all got one. I think you have. I'm going to come into a bridge, a couple of bridges, but using your blocks. So I know a lot of you have done this before with me. Bring the block in between, sort of just above your inner thighs towards your knees, and squeeze the block a lot. Make sure that perhaps your feet are close enough to your hips that you can maybe tickle your ankles with your fingers. Good. Really ground through your feet, especially the big toes, just like you did when you started with your standing series. So really feel yourself grounded there. Squeeze the block a little bit more and hug the belly button in a little bit towards your spine. So all these different actions just to give you a bit of stability in your core. And then start to lift up from your tailbone, lift up the middle back, upper back, come onto the backs of the shoulder blades, keep squeezing that block. And then if you like, you can walk your hands underneath your body and interlace them so that you're higher up and you're onto the backs of your shoulder blades a little bit more. You don't have to do that, that's just an option. You can keep your arms by your side, but keep squeezing the block and lifting your hips up for me. Good, squeeze the block, lift up a little bit higher, and breathe for 5. And 4. Keep squeezing the block. 3. And 2. Squeeze the block and lift a little bit higher. Lift a bit higher, Jean, come on. And 1. Release the hands if they're underneath you, and then lower down from the upper back, the middle back, all the way down to the back of the pelvis. Just take the block out for a moment. Let your feet come as wide as your mat and your knees come in towards each other. Just pause, finding this neutral spine. Whew. So a lot of strengthening in the back of your core there. I'm going to do that one more time. You don't have to use the block if you'd rather not. I'm going to use the block. It really makes a big difference. So, walk your feet back in so that the hip width apart. Bring the block again, or not, if that's your choice, that's fine, in between your thighs. If you haven't got the block, just imagine that hugging in sensation as though you have got the block. Draw up your pelvic floor muscles now. Engage through your belly button as though you're hugging your belly button down towards your spine. Really have that whole engagement there. Press down into the feet, the whole of the feet. And then start to lift up the tailbone. Keep squeezing the block. Lift up through the middle back, all the way to the upper back. And then again, if you like, you can bring your hands underneath you, interlace them, press down into the forearms and get more of a lift. Really lengthen through the fronts of the thighs as though you're trying to reach, have a nice long line from the knees all the way down the hips, all the way down to your shoulders. Keep squeezing the block, pressing into the big toes, and breathe. Breathing in, and breathing out. Squeezing a bit more. Each time you feel yourself releasing a little bit, just give it another squeeze. Notice where you're feeling this. Notice how your breath is. Notice what your mind's telling you in these tricky poses. It's okay. The obstacle is the path. You will get through it. You will be stronger for it. For 3, 2, and 1. Release the hands from underneath you. Slowly lower down from the upper back, middle back, low back. Take the block out of the way. Just pop it to the side. And then just bring your feet so that they're mat width apart, and take your knees to the left and then bring them up to center and over to the right. Just windshield wiper them a few times. Just ease off through the spine. Find a little bit of mobility there in your hips. Well done. All right. From here, staying on your back now, keep your knees bent. And just bring your right ankle on the top of your left knee, finding a nice supine pigeon or figure 4. And then hug that left knee towards your chest. Reach through the gap in the middle, either hold behind the left thigh or hold in front of the left knee. And then try and consciously press that right knee away from you without actually touching it. So just use the strength in that hip to open that right knee out to the side. So finding a little bit deeper in that stretch on the right hip. You can close your eyes if you like. You can notice your breath moving in and out of your body. See if it's changed at all. See if you can bring it back to smooth and steady. If you're working with that Ujjayi breath I think we introduced last week, Remember, you're going to slightly constrict the base of your throat so that you make this smooth, steady ocean wave sound. A little bit like the sound, but with your lips closed. But if you're breathing, then you're practicing yoga. You're breathing with consciousness. Take a couple more breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath, breathe in. And breathe out. Lovely, next breath. Bring your left foot onto the mat and reach your right toes up to the ceiling. If you've got your strap, I should have had mine next to me, then you're going to bring it around the soles of your feet. Otherwise, hold on behind your thigh, your right thigh. And just find a nice hamstring stretch here. Try and reach the leg as straight as possible, but it doesn't matter if there's a micro bend in it. And if you want to, you can straighten the opposite leg, the left leg. So try to reach the heel up to the ceiling and the toes down towards your face. We'll just intensify it a little bit. And then try and relax your shoulders so that you're not really pulling too much with your shoulders. Sometimes it's nice just to wrap your arms, your hands around the strap so you've got that sort of support. You're not actually really putting much strain into your shoulders. You're really just the weight of the hands intertwined with the strap. Take a moment just to remember your intention. Why is it that you decided to practice yoga today? How do you want to feel by the end of the day? Lovely. Next breath in. Just bend into the left knee, put the left sole of the foot on the mat, release the right leg, and then put the right sole of the foot onto the mat. Let's just come onto the other side. So put the left ankle now onto the right knee, and then hug that right knee in towards you. Again, imagine you're going to hold on in front of your right shin or behind the right thigh. And then imagine pushing that left knee away from you, just using the strength of the left hip. Flexing the left toes, sometimes feels a bit nicer for your knees. Emptying your shoulders. And just take your breaths, breathing in and breathing out. Everything's slowing down, so you've worked a lot into your parasympathetic nervous system, getting those hormones going. Let's see if we can tap into your parasympathetic nervous system now, calming. So you'll rest and digest, training yourself, using your breath to find that calmness when you need it. One more breath here, breathing in. And as you exhale, bring the right foot down onto the mat and just stretch your left toes up to the sky, flexing the foot, bringing the strap around the ball of your foot, or holding on behind the hamstring. If you don't have a strap to hand, that's fine. Heavy the shoulders. Again, maybe just take a couple of loops in the strap so you're not using all the shoulders to pull down. Heel reaches away from you, toes towards you. You can straighten the opposite leg if it feels alright in your low back. And just pausing and breathing. So even though we move ourselves in all these shapes in yoga, really that's not what yoga is about. Yoga is just about trying to find a little bit of conscious awareness by using the breath. It just so happens that byproducts of the practice are that we do feel a little bit freer in our bodies. There's one more breath here, inhale. And then exhale, bend the right knee and put the right sole of the foot on the floor, and then let go of the strap to the side, put the left sole of the foot on the floor. Coming into a nice twist, I'm going to demonstrate eagle twist because you've already done it in a standing position. If you prefer not to do that, if it doesn't feel good, then ease out and just take one leg to the side. Otherwise, you're going to lift the right foot up, knee up high over the left, cross the legs, and then wiggle your hips over to the right a little bit. Keep your legs crossed like this, and then your knees go over to the left. Turn your gaze towards your right fingertips so you're feeling a nice twist, but if it's too deep for you, then straighten the left leg and hold on to the right knee so that you feel just as good a twist. So either the eagle twist with your right thigh wrapped over your left and your knees over to the left, or else you just take a twist with one leg straight and one knee bent. That's it, G. See if you can heavy the shoulders a little bit more. Lovely. Next breath in, bring your knees back up to center. Square off your hips to the middle of the mat, and then uncross that right knee from your left. Change sides by bringing your left knee over your right, and then your hips go over to the left a little bit first, and then the knees over to the right. And then turn your gaze towards the left fingertips, finding a nice twist all the way through the side body. Or take your variation if you decided that was a little bit too deep for your body today. Lovely, just take one more breath here, breathing in. Maybe opening your mouth and sighing out if you like. And then bring your knees back up to center. Uncross your left knee from your right, and then just hug both knees in towards you. Wrap your arms around your shins. Apanasana. Maybe rock from side to side a little bit for a moment. Okay, everyone. And then if you want to, you can take a happy baby before we come into Shavasana. So a happy baby by reaching the soles of your feet up, holding onto the outsides of your feet, and then just trying to lengthen, pulling the knees towards the sides of your armpits, the sides of your waist. Lengthening the spine, if you can, by bringing the tailbone towards the floor a little bit. If you want movement in this, you can rock side to side, or you can straighten one knee, and then straighten the other knee. Just see how it feels. Scan your body just like you did at the beginning of class. Just notice how you're feeling in your body and your breath. Hopefully you feel a little bit more loosened up and ready for this day ahead. And if you need to stay inside, that's okay. You can stay inside. And when you're ready, just hug your knees in one more time. Take a breath in, maybe bring your head up towards your knees. And as you breathe out, bring your legs out long as your mat. Finding time for your Shavasana. I know it's difficult when you're at home and you might have people around or things to do, but just give yourself a moment or two to find a bit of peace in your day where you don't need to do anything for anyone, you just want to be. So let the whole of your front body sink down into your back body. And then let the whole of your back body sink down into the ground. And then I hope when you move off your you finish your Shavasana, that you bring with you the resilience of this practice. Bring with you the memory of overcoming and sustaining, of continuing forward despite what arises. Thank you for joining me on a Sunday morning.